recording again. Great. So let's just say that I have my arlen.jpg here, and this is my finalized Capstone 1 image, one of the 6 that I made. So remember, you submitted 6 edited images, and now you're going to be downloading those 6 edited images, and this is one of them that I edited. And so there's a few ways we can go about this, and I'm just going to go ahead and go through the way that the Capstone does it for us. And then, of course, if you find a different way of doing it, that's completely fine. Again, I'm not going to know how you went about getting to the final product. All I will know is how you got to here. So if you don't like doing it this way, that's completely fine. You can do it whichever way you'd like. But usually going along the lines of the project description is easier, as it allows for more troubleshooting and directions to be made. So first of all, what we need to do is go ahead and try to change our canvas, because we want to add something into the background of our canvas. So why don't we do that using Photopea really quickly. So I'm just going to go into my image and then canvas size. And if you notice here, my canvas is 1920 by 1080, which is my normal size for this canvas as I downloaded it. Why don't I make this into 2000? And you'll notice once I made it to 2000, I have something along the edges here that is a bit transparent. And if you remember, the transparency is for something that goes in the background and can be seen through. And again, the way I did this is I went to image, canvas size. And I went ahead and I increased the width. So why don't I do it a little bit more to maybe 100 to this one. And you'll notice that it actually splits the amount between each side. So it gives us a nice even value on each side of our image here. And because I'm trying to make a Polaroid card, I'm going to go to image canvas size again. And I'm going to increase my height. Why don't I try to increase it to 200? Now, if you notice here, when I look back at my Polaroid card, the way that it works is that there's a nice white border, but there's quite a bit at the bottom. And we could also do it inversely, where there's nothing at the bottom, but a bit at the top. So either way is fine, but you'll notice here that if I try to rearrange where my picture is, I have a bit of white up here, but I don't have too much at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is go back to image and canvas size and increase my height again to maybe 1400. Now I definitely have more space in this 1400 version. And so what I'll do is, why don't I drag this up here to right about here. And now I have a decent amount of space at the bottom of my image to work with. And again, all I did right now was go to image and canvas size when I had my edited image uploaded to Photopea. So again, this is going to be for images that you already edited in part 1, and you're only going to be working with these 6 finalized images that you edited. Excuse me for the tongue twister. So now here comes a bit of a tricky part, is how do I get this white background that's in here? Well, what we can do is add in a new layer that will go behind this original layer. So why don't I go to layer, and then I'm going to go down to something down here called new fill layer. And there's going to be something called color fill, gradient fill, and pattern fill. Gradient and pattern, you can use these if you'd like, but they're not required. These are just nice ways to put a background that might have a pattern on it. Why don't I go with color fill? And then for our purpose for this project, let's hit white. I'm going to hit OK. And now, unfortunately, my image is gone, right? You'll see that it filled in this entire canvas, but my image is behind it. But if I hide this layer, I now have my background again. But remember that our layers are like stacks of pancakes, right? So the one that's on the bottom is going to be hidden by the one above it and so forth. So all I'll need to do is hold, maybe I can select this one here. I'm going to hold it, and then I can just drag this to the very bottom. Or I can drag this background one above it as well. Either one is fine. It doesn't matter. It makes the same effect. But now you'll notice that I have this nice kind of white background onto my Polaroid. Now the next step in our project is that I have something called Japan here, and we're going to be adding in just a bit about our information here. So why don't I go to the type tool that's right here, and then I'm going to click right here onto the bottom layer where I have my images here, and I'm just going to type in Ireland, because this is what the image is. And if you'll notice, I now have my new text layer 2 that's right here. So I have 2 new layers, my background colorful one, my actual image, and then I have my text layer. I'm going to highlight my text layer first. I'm going to go over to my T tool, and then I'm going to click on this size button. I'm going to increase it quite a bit, maybe to 150. That looks pretty good. I'm going to drag it down a little bit, just to wherever. I'm going to try to center it if I can. Don't think it's letting me center it, which is fine. But I'm just going to eyeball it to the best of my ability. And then I'm actually going to go into these previews over here, and then let me see if I can find one that looks pretty cool. See if this one works. Oh, I'm also going to highlight it all as well. Let me see if these... There we go. So now it's changing. What I had to do there, sorry if you didn't notice, is I selected Ireland, my text layer, and then I double clicked on my text so it highlights it. And then while my text is highlighted, I'm going to go up to the left, up here where I have my fonts. And again, if you can't find these fonts or anything, make sure that the T is clicked on the left side over here. Going to double click, and then I'm just going to go through some of these that I like. There's one that looked a bit... That one looks a bit weird, actually. Sorry. That one looks pretty interesting. Again, all of these are up to you. I'm not going to be mad at whichever one you pick. This one looks all right for me. And then with this highlighted again, I'm going to go over to the black, and maybe I'll make it green or something like that as well. So awesome. I'm going to hit my check mark here. And that's my first Polaroid card. So if I look here at this Japan one, it's essentially the same thing. And that's about it for your project too. So you're going to do this 5 more times for each of your 6 edited images, right? So what you can do after you do this is you can go to File. Let's see here, export as PSD, or excuse me, save as a PSD. And then I have my Ireland PSD. I can drag that into Moodle. I can submit 6 PSDs separately, or you can zip them, put them in a folder, whichever way you like is fine. I'm not too picky about it, as long as you submit 6 edited images that are like a Polaroid. Now, this is a little boring. Again, maybe I can spruce this up a little bit. So let's just say that I don't like how the background white looks. Why don't I select my color fill down here? And then why don't I select... Let's see here if I can change this color right away. Yeah. So if I double click on my color fill on this left square where there's a bit of it's kind of hard to see, but there's this type of line at the bottom that I can drag back and forth. I'm going to double click on that square, and I can actually go ahead and change the color of my background here as I'd like. So maybe I'll make it a bit more orange to make it look like the flag. You guys are probably going to be sick of Ireland at the end of this semester here, but again, you can change the color, and whatever color you pick, make sure that it's like for instance, don't pick one that makes it very hard to read the text. Like this one right here, it looks nice, but if you see here, the text is a bit hidden in it. It's kind of hard to make out what it is, so definitely pick options that might make it a bit more different here. As you can see there, I just changed the background, but the Polaroid card looks a bit different. I can select the color. I can click on my text layer, go up and hit T on the left side, go up to this green, and I can go ahead and change the green if I'd like. Maybe I like the sky blue a bit better. And whatever you pick, all you will be adding in is a Polaroid-ish type of card for your 6 edited images. So again, this is up to you guys how much extensive work you want to do. It's completely fine to just do the white background with the normal text. That's fine. But I would say try to experiment with some font styles. Try to experiment with some backgrounds if you'd like. But remember, this Capstone Part 2 isn't as intensive as the first one. You're essentially taking your first 6 edited images and then adding this Polaroid-ish esque to them to make them 6 new Polaroid cards. So by the end of your Capstone Part 2, you're going to have 6 Polaroid cards that you're going to submit into the folder.